Life is funny because it's about being positive. See, to me, I think that people have to have a positive attitude. I think that that's what's important, to have a positive attitude. I'm thinking about this woman. I'm always thinking about some woman, and I never talk about who it is or whatever, because I don't feel like directing things over to the video from some woman who said this. It's just, but I hear this all the time. I don't want to be positive. I don't feel like it. I got problems. That's not going to make things better. This woman was talking about, my father isn't going to feel better, and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, oh my goodness. I'm just thinking to myself, I have a positive attitude. I'm diabetic. I got problems. Maybe next month when I go to the doctor, they're going to tell me they're going to amputate one of my toes. Which, seriously, I really mean that. Maybe possibly amputate part of it. Hopefully that won't happen, and it probably won't, but, it's a possibility. The thing is that I have a positive attitude basically because you have a choice in life. You can either be positive about things or you can be negative. Now, my belief is that a positive attitude doesn't really change reality. I'm not somebody who believes in magical stuff, I don't think that being positive changes reality, or at least not in a physical sense of changing reality. But what it does change is the way you perceive things, the way you look at things, the way you approach life. See, I think I've had a better quality of life, which is a difference in reality, because there are two realities. I could have had a negative quality of life or a positive quality of life. Ever since the doctors told me that I was diabetic, actually they told me way back in 1995, but, I've been like bullshitting myself a lot of times, not going to the doctor and everything. And then I went back in 2007, and then they tell me, okay, you basically are type 1 diabetic. Okay. The thing is that I've had a positive attitude. Now, I had a positive attitude even before that. It wasn't like suddenly at that moment I suddenly grew a positive attitude or something. But what matters is that a positive attitude is something that I look at it like this. I talk about Abraham Maslow. Let me talk about Maslow for a moment. Abraham Maslow, Motivation and Personality. Do you know this book? When I bought this book, it cost $55. It was paperback too. Not even that thick. $55 for this book. Do you know if you go and look up this book on Amazon, you know how much this book costs now? It's $85. $85. This thing is expensive. But anyway, that's not the point. But I love that book. It's a great book. It's the book that has his famous hierarchy of needs theory. Anyway, and I talk a lot about Abraham Maslow because he is like a very positive-minded person who talks about the greatest heights we can reach. But I think one of the things that's important is you got to have a positive attitude in life. You have to have a positive attitude. I think that's what matters the most. Because it's about the quality of life. And the reason why I mentioned Maslow, because I think about something that he said, about how a lot of times people who are at the lower levels that he talked about, are people always looking at things in the means to an end sort of way of looking at things. But the people who are at the highest level, the self-actualizing people, they look at certain things as an ends in itself. You do something because it's an ends in itself. I think about many times when I've been generous to people. And I would do things, and sometimes people get suspicious when you do nice things for them, because they always figure that there's something to it. There's something behind that. If you give someone a gift, they think, okay, what does he really want? If you give someone something, anything, if I give somebody an iPod, for example, they think, okay, what does he want? He's got something up his sleeve. You know how those men are, especially you give it to a woman. Yeah, he wants something, and you know exactly what he wants. No. Many times I've done things just because I want to be nice to people. And it feels good. It actually feels good to do nice things, to do good things for people. I've done many things like that. I've been very generous to people. I give people things, give people money, give people all kind of stuff. And I do it because it's an ends in itself. It feels good. It is its own reward, so to speak. The very act is its own reward. It's not, I'm doing a nice thing because if I do this, God is going to let me into heaven. Or if I do this, I'm going to get into that woman's dress. Or if I do this, I'm going to get a promotion at work. Many times I'm nice to people at work, and I do, I'm very nice to the boss. I'm nice to my coworkers. I'm not nice to people because I'm trying to get something. I do it because I enjoy being nice. Now, granted, I know that there are limits you have to put on people, because sometimes if you're really nice to some people, they take advantage. But, I'll still be nice anyway. I just learned that lesson in life, to just be nice. And to put limits, yes, but to be kind. Kindness is its own reward. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. So I think about that woman who said that, when she was talking about her father being sick, this woman I was watching on the video, and she said, well, he's sick and he's going through this, and people are telling me to be nice, telling me not to be nice, but telling me to be positive, and I don't want to be positive because, that's not going to help him to be well. You're right. As I was thinking about this before, I was thinking, if you were on an airplane and the wings snapped off that plane, a positive attitude is not going to change things. You're going to plunge to your death. If you are diagnosed with cancer, a positive attitude isn't going to change anything. You're either going to live or you're going to die. But the one thing is that a positive attitude is its own reward. No matter what the outcome, why not have a positive attitude? Why not think positive? Why not be optimistic? All things being equal, everything isn't. That's going to be, that's a famous Philip quote, okay? That I created this quote because I think that when you look at it, all things being equal, things aren't. It isn't. Things aren't equal. Positive attitude versus negative attitude. It's the same thing. No, not really. Not really. It's a matter of quality of life. When you get down to it, ultimately, everything comes down to quality of life. What is going to give you a better quality of life? Walking around with a negative attitude, being pessimistic, worrying about everything, or being positive. Let's think about people 200 years ago. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to the Civil War, just before the Civil War started. And people were worried about the war, that there was going to be a war, and it was going to be terrible, and it was going to be this, that, and the other thing. Well, you know what? All the people who worried and were afraid and were scared, all those people are dead. It's over. Did the people who worried make a difference? No. I mean, they didn't change reality. And the people who had a positive attitude didn't change reality either. But what happened was the people who had a positive attitude lived a better quality of life. And the people who had a negative attitude, the quality of life wasn't so good. In the end, it's all the same. You're going to die, and it's going to be it. So while you're here, make the most of it. Be positive, think positive, be generous, and smile. That's what I believe. That's my thought for the day.